recently did a piece on the Ministry of Tourism that was embroiled in a scandal of 100 million rand, where they had given the rights to what was the most popular tourist conference in South Africa, a meeting called Tourism Indaba. Given it to a company, a new company. The old company is doing a great job, and it was an event that was very, very successful. Our Minister of Tourism and SA Tourism that reports to her suddenly gave the contract to another company that apparently totally botched the job. And this went from South Africa's greatest tourism showcase to being an event that nobody exhibited at and nobody attended. It was moved from Joburg to Durban, nobody went, it was a mess. 100 million rand it cost us of our tax money. We're still waiting to hear what came of it. Then there was another scandal, followed hot on the heels of the first one, and that was granting 174 million rand security contract for tourist safety. Once again, no transparency on how this particular contract was given. Seems like some dodgy people that got the contract. All happening under the Ministry of Tourism. At a bad time. This is when our politicians are under the microscope, because we are not, South Africa has lost patience with our politicians. We also don't have a party with a big majority that can just sweep stuff under the carpet, as has been the case for the last 30 years. So life has changed. Who is the Minister of Tourism? Auntie Patricia de Lille. Serial party hopper, ex-PAC, ex-Independent Democrats, ex-Democratic Alliance. Then she started her own party called the Good Party. Don't know what they're good for, but it may be for nothing. The point is, this woman is clearly not understanding the mood of the country. To top it all off, what does Patricia de Lille go and do now? She goes and appoints as her spokesperson the disgraced journalist Uldren Sier. Uldren Sier, you may know, worked at Newsroom Africa. He's worked at a few newsrooms. Quite an accomplished newsreader. But he went viral recently for a road rage incident where he hardly behaved like somebody in the public eye, where he really behaved poorly, screaming at a woman that he had had a bumper bashing with. Really not the kind of stuff you want from somebody who represents the country. Never mind, at that point, just a media house. He came out with a groveling apology, saying that the problem is that he comes out of a violent background. He apologized. He let it known that he's beaten up 2 of his girlfriends in the past. Now, sure, we all allowed a second chance. And I'm not going to hold that against any person. But the mood is really, really bad. We've got to understand. In South Africa, South Africans have had enough of politicians. Now it's time that we start to understand the danger that these small parties represent, like the Good Party. They manage somehow, with not even enough votes, just on an absolute technicality, to get 1 seat in Parliament, which is held by Patricia de Lille. And what does President Cyril Ramaphosa do? He appoints her as a Minister of Tourism, as if she has any constituency. I think she got 30,000 votes in the country, and you usually need about 30 or 70 or 80,000 to get a seat. This is not a woman that has got a decent constituency. She's a political has-been. We've got a country fighting against corruption, maladministration, bad judgment. You know, the bad judgment that we saw with our former minister in Kabani, when you chew bubblegum in committee meetings and you don't answer the question and you tell people to look at the encyclopedia to understand what before she gives them an answer. We've had enough. And We also don't have a tame media. There are shows like The Political Insider where we are going to give air. We're going to highlight this kind of behavior. Now, there's a government of national unity that's got 10 parties represented. It doesn't need 10 parties. It needs 3 or 4 max to form a government. In actual fact, it only needs 2 to form a government, but hey, this is South Africa. These one-person parties, one-seat parties, are creating a lot of confusion in the party, and they're usually in it because this is their retirement fund. This is the job that's going to give them enough money so that they can retire in some prosperity. They are not doing this for the best interests of the country. If you're doing it in the best interests of the country, you wouldn't appoint a controversial spokesperson. Let's remember the heat that John Steenhuisen got when he appointed Roman Kabanek in his back office, because people didn't like the fact that he had been a podcaster and he'd been on the right, and it carried on until they almost forced John Steenhuisen to get rid of the guy. Roman Kabanek never hit anybody. Roman Kabanek never had road rage. But yet the media wouldn't let it go until John Steenhuisen got rid of him. We remember Ronaldo Gous. But now we've got Patricia de Lille putting in a compromised person as her spokesperson. We've got Gayton McKenzie, racist tweets, maybe from a long time ago. But he was right at the forefront of telling the DA that they must fire Ronaldo Gous. So where does it go? Is this only the DA that's held accountable? Only the ANC that we can say is corrupt? At what point do we start looking at these small parties? Ask the logical question. Why are they invited into the government of national unity in the first place? They all say yes because it is their payday. Patricia de Lille is 74 years old. This is her last job. She's never going to say no. She's never going to stand up to the president. She's never going to do the right thing. She's only there to take home a salary. She should come out in public. I invite her to come onto the State of the Nation to explain why you would appoint somebody like Uldren Sier as your spokesperson. Explain to everybody what is good about making this kind of appointment in this climate. South Africa, we need to be wide awake to these politicians that are using our money to look after their mates and feather their nests. We are not going to stop exposing them on the Political Insider. So let's keep a very, very close eye on our Minister of Tourism, because suddenly there's a lot of noise coming out of that particular portfolio that I question whether it needs to exist in the first place. Thank you so much for joining me on the Political Insider.